Is Pacific Drive worth playing? That's the question I'll be answering in this video. For those of you that just want a yes or no and don't want to watch the whole video, here's the quick answer. If you're looking for a unique take on the survival genre with a bit of challenge, then yes, Pacific Drive is worth playing. If you're looking for a traditional survival experience, then no, this game is probably not for you. If that's all you wanted to know, make sure to hit the like button and leave a comment for the algorithm. For those of you that want to learn more about the game before deciding, let's get into it. First up, I want to thank the developers of the game, Ironwood Studios, for providing me with a review copy of the game. The only rules for this review were to respect the embargo date of today, which is the day the video is going live, and to not show any gameplay footage past a certain point in the game to avoid story spoilers. That doesn't affect me anyway because I always limit the video footage for my review videos to the first hour or two of the game to avoid spoilers. Other than those two things, I'm free to say whatever I want about the game, which is what I always do anyway, and I definitely appreciate it. So what is Pacific Drive? Pacific Drive is a survival game. We're going to be driving in a car. It takes place in the Pacific Northwest of the United States in the state of Washington in the Olympic Exclusion Zone, which is a former research facility that's been cordoned off and you're not supposed to get into it, and you accidentally stumble upon it, and that's where the story takes place. So essentially what you'll be doing is unraveling the mystery of the Exclusion Zone where all kinds of crazy things are happening. So in Pacific Drive, the car is going to be the focus of the game. It serves as a mobile base, and you'll need to upgrade it and maintain it throughout the game. So instead of what you do in normal survival games or traditional survival games, which is managing hunger, thirst, stamina, sanity, you know, all those things that you're used to dealing with, in this game, you're going to be dealing with managing your fuel, the battery power of your car, and the health of the car parts like the engine, doors, tires, windows, panels, headlights, and bumpers. So the gameplay loop of the game is there's main story missions which have objectives that need to be completed, and there's side missions which are really just for gathering resources and maybe doing some research, and both require you to successfully return to your garage via a portal. The garage is going to serve as your home base where you can safely take time to repair and upgrade your car. You'll be able to unlock blueprints for crafting items, and it can also be upgraded itself. The garage, you can consider it to be kind of like the safe haven from the hectic or the chaotic world that will be out when you're doing your missions. You can spend as much time as you want in the garage, repairing your car, preparing for your next trip out, and kind of just looking at what you might want to unlock and kind of what things you want to do and what resources you need to be on the lookout for as you're doing your missions. The missions themselves will be set up by using the route planner, which is in the garage. Once you pick where you want to go, whether it's a story mission, the main story mission, or whether it's one of the side missions, which is basically just kind of just go out and explore, you're going to want to make sure you pack for your trip. The first couple of missions will kind of give you an idea of what you need. It'll say, pack these things for what you, or as you're going out, it'll say, collect these things, just so you get an idea of what resources and what items you should bring with you. Examples are going to be, you're going to bring some of the tools with you. So you'll be able to have a crowbar. There's also a resource scrapper, which is a saw that lets you break down some metal materials. There's other tools that you'll unlock and get as you play through the game. You want to make sure you bring those along with you, as well as some repair items and some healing items for yourself. The repair items will be used for repairing your car and also for dealing with some of the damage you might take as you're doing the missions. After you have your entire preparation completed, you can then head out of the garage and you'll enter the exclusion zone. Once you're in the exclusion zone, you can use the navigation system that's in your car. For the main quests, you'll have green objectives on the map, which will kind of tell you where you need to go. The side missions are going to not really have any of the main objectives. They'll only have where the anchors are, which are what you're going to need to unlock to get the portal to get out anyway. Those will be marked with yellow on the map. But in both kinds of missions, as you'll be driving through, you'll probably come along some broken down cars, maybe some abandoned buildings. You can go inside of those and inside the buildings and gather some resources. The cars, most of the cars they'll have resources where you can get scrap metal off them, or they might have something in their trunks. Now, while you're doing this, you do have to be careful because you'll quickly learn that if you're taking too much time or you're not careful, not paying attention, you could end up having your car just grabbed by one of these like robot things that flies around that has a magnet on it. It will literally just pull your car and just pull it away from where you are, and then you'll have to go get it. Sometimes this is okay because maybe it just pulls it into a field. Other times it'll like throw it into a tree or into like an embankment or something like that. So you definitely need to be careful, and it's just like an extra layer of tension that you can't just spend forever anytime you're in the exclusion zone. You just got to be aware of what's going on around you. Along the way, you also encounter anomalies. The anomalies they range from things that are like potholes where the ground will just pop up to there's electrical ones. There's all kinds of different ones. What you'll want to do with those is you'll want to get out of your car and scan them. And I definitely recommend doing this. Scanning them will put a log in your logbook. You go into the logbook and it'll tell you this is the anomaly and kind of what you can expect from it. You're going to want to make sure that you're aware of what the anomalies do so you can avoid them, because if you just try to like bowl your way through the anomalies in the missions, you will take a lot of damage to your car, unnecessary damage, and it's just not worth it. You want to just try to plan, and you might have to go off the road to deal with them. That's fine. Other times you just kind of have to wait, like a timing thing, and just deal with them. But you should definitely prepare for those because it'll make your life so much easier if you do that. And then once you've kind of completed the objectives for the main quests and for the main missions, or if you're done gathering resources for the side missions you're doing, you'll grab the anchors, which are the yellow points in the map. Once you get enough of those, it'll depend on the zone you're in, how many you need. Sometimes you need one, sometimes you need more. It'll open up a portal, and you'll essentially just have to get to that portal, and as long as you get out in time, you'll be safe. So the first couple of missions will, and when I say safe, you'll be sent back to your garage, and then the mission's successful and everything's good to go. Now, at any time, you can abandon a mission, so things are just going wrong, no worries. You can just abandon the mission. You'll go back. You do lose anything you've gathered, and I think you might lose some of the resources that you had in your inventory, but so I wouldn't recommend abandoning unless you absolutely have to, but it's not the end of the world if you end up failing a mission. So the first couple of missions you'll get will be relatively easy. They'll kind of tell you, they'll give you like a to-do list of what you need to collect, and when you're trying to get out, it won't be that big of a deal. You will get to a point where opening up the portal will cause a storm to start closing in on you. And what the storm is, kind of think of like the Battle Royale storm, where it kind of just forces all the players together. In this case, it's forcing you to the portal, so you can't just dilly-dally around. So once you open that portal, you need to be committed to getting to it. And if the storm catches up you, it will end up just, first it'll start doing damage to your car. Once all the car's health has been depleted, you'll still be able to drive it, but then it'll start damaging your health, and it will count down. And the reason I'm talking about this is because this was one of the most memorable experiences I've had in the game recently. I was doing one of the missions, and it was one of the first ones where the storm was actually like an issue. And I wasn't really like that worried about it. I was like, what's the big deal if it catches up to me? Maybe it'll be like a Battle Royale game where it just ticks for 1 health, like over like every couple seconds or whatever like that. It's not a big deal. It started chunking. The storm caught up to me, and I wasn't really in position to I was trying to get to the portal to get out, but I was like, I'll get there. The storm catches up to me. It starts depleting the health of my car really quickly. Fortunately, I did have some healing items in my inventory, so I was able to, it then started chunking my health. So I started eating the health items as I'm going along. And what ended up happening was I see the portal ahead, and I have like 5% health left. And I'm like, there's just no way I'm going to make it. I ended up making it into the portal with 1% health left. So all the health from my car was gone. I had 1% health and had consumed all of the healing items that I had in my inventory. I did have some in my trunk, but I ultimately was not going to be able to get out of the car and use those. So that was just an absolute, like, the tension was just like super high. And I thought I had failed the mission. When I ended up succeeding, it was just like an exhilarating experience. So that kind of, adding that kind of twist to it, where you have to be aware of your surroundings, and you have to get out and just be planning, and it just adds another layer to the game that just it just makes the game just so much more enjoyable. Again, the game's going to start off pretty easily, and then it'll start ramping up. So again, if you're looking for the casual experience, this is probably not the game for you. I didn't see anything in there where it's like make it easy mode. I think it's just like here it is. There's some like accessibility settings in there, but I didn't at least see anything where it was like, yep, I just want to play this on casual mode. So you're going to have a bit of a challenge. And especially if you're like me, where you just try to like, maybe you're just like, I want to just bull my way through this. So like an example would be like, here's the path that I'm supposed to take, where I'm going to stay on the roads. And instead I decide I'm going to take a shortcut through this little forest here. It looks like it's not that dense and I can get through, and it'll save me a lot of time. Sometimes that works out. Other times you end up hitting a bunch of small trees, which damages your car. Maybe you blow a tire out. Now you have to fix your tire. Maybe the worst case scenario is you can't even get through it, because on the other side of that little forest is a giant like hill that you can't even get up in your car. So you have to end up going all the way back. And along the way, you're going to be, again, managing like the health of your car, the fuel level. There was one mission I was doing where I was like about halfway down. My fuel was about halfway down, and I had a long way to go before I was going to get to the end point of that current zone. And I just happened to stumble upon a gas truck that had run off the road and was kind of just like stuck there. I went up to it. Guess what? It had gas in it. So I was able to take the fuel truck and refuel my car to fill it back up to help me complete the mission. You'll also have like gas stations in some of the zones where you can refuel if you end up running out of fuel, and you can take extra fuel with you. But so preparation is definitely necessary, and just the overall not having to worry about constantly feeding myself or running out of stamina or dealing with sanity or any of those things that's normal in a survival game. Those are enjoyable in other games to some extent, but this is just a completely fresh experience. And overall, it can be challenging, but you're rewarded for your preparation and for playing the game, though, like basically just using everything you've learned to just succeed. So a couple things I want to just mention, like this isn't a tips and tricks video, but 100% make sure you pay attention to the anomalies. Stay on the road as much as possible. Sometimes you need to deviate off of a little bit to avoid the anomalies, but try to stay on the roads, and always make sure you have extra resources with you in case something goes wrong. You don't want to have your car, like I had a mission where the headlights went out on my car and I literally just could not see where I was going, and I couldn't repair them because I didn't have the repair stuff with me. I ended up having to abandon that one and then redo it. So make sure you're prepared, and you'll end up just having a much more enjoyable experience. So what can you expect from Pacific Drive in terms of length? The main story is going to take you roughly 12 to 14 hours if you just do the main story. There's lots of side content that can add an additional like 10 to 30 hours depending on how much you want to explore. And if you want to unlock all the upgrades, there's lots of things you can unlock. There's also like cosmetic stuff you can unlock, but just like the functional stuff you can unlock, the fabrication machine has tons and tons of stuff you can unlock if you want to unlock everything. So basically, is the game worth playing? Again, if this kind of everything I've said to you up to this point sounds like something you're interested in, it's a unique take on the survival genre, which I know it's hard to get unique takes on pre-existing genres at this point, but this was really unique because the cards, the focus of the game, you're managing different things instead of just managing your hunger and thirst, the tension of the storm closing in on you, and then all the different anomalies you have to deal with. So there's not like direct one-on-one combat with like enemies in the game, but you have to deal with the anomalies, and there's always, each one of them is kind of unique, so you have to deal with them in a different way. And then even gathering resources, you got to be careful when you're gathering resources because it might look like a nice little calm area. You're inside of a building, and next thing you know, your car's being dragged away by this magnetic robot thing, and then you have to go chasing it. So if that sounds interesting to you, I think it's definitely worth playing. If you're looking for a traditional survival game, you probably want to hold off on playing this. So anyway, if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.